conversation sort of was a tangent off of the idea of the difference between relativity and Newton's idea of gravity. It's tethered by some force, and as they moved, the thing just sort of followed along as if it was a string pulling it, or something that was spinning in centrifugal force. Like if you spin a object, and with an object with a string to it, it'll form a straight line and just travel a circular path, or whatever path. And Einstein's idea that things weren't really connected by a string, they were connected by a fabric, a three-dimensional space-time fabric. And if you think about it in 2 dimensions, it would be like if you stretched a really thin membrane, put a really large object in the center. It would make a depression, and 3-dimensional in space, that's happening in 3 dimensions, of course. And that depression is the curvature of space-time, and things just follow the path of the curvature of space-time that objects, depending on their mass, produces. Then we sort of you asked me about DéJà Vu, and I sort of got on a tangent about quantum mechanics and entangled states of electrons and various things like that, and multiverses. How if an object, exists and it has the ability to be in different states at the same time, if a probability exists, it must exist in all the places. So like a photon, if it strikes a mirror at an angle and it has a choice to be able to go through the glass or be reflected straight up at a 90-degree angle, if it hits a 45-degree surface, both of those are possible. So the electron at that moment must exist in both positions. It must be traveling off, at the 90-degree angle and then traveling straight through. So that's sort of a concept of the multiverse. So all these particles and subatomic particles, they're all doing this all the time at the quantum level, and it's just a probability. You can't determine where anything is or what it will do. It's just a probability, and if you look at this probability over a long period of time, you'll get the percentages, and that'll confirm your theory is right, but you won't be able to say, okay, this electron will definitely do this, no more than you can say if you flip a coin, 50-50 times, 50-50 chance, it'll be heads or tails, but you can't predict whether or not it'll be head or tails, but if you do it enough times, you'll get a 50-50 ratio. And then it went into DéJà Vu where, if we blew this up on the micro scale and tried to apply it to things like the size of a whole universe or planet or everything that happens, everything you do in your life, it may exist in a parallel universe or past lives or happening simultaneously, who knows, but you might live your whole life doing everything you did up until a point with one little change, and at that little change, your life changes from that, but everything else will be the same. And DéJà Vu might be some sort of connection that we may or may not have. I don't know, like some type of entanglement states between these various selves of yours throughout the multiverse, and you remember doing something, it's almost exactly the same and maybe exactly the same up until the point that you turn left instead of right. But you might live your whole life doing everything you did up until a point with one little change, and at that little change, your life changes from that, but everything else will be the same. And DéJà Vu might be some sort of connection that we may or may not have. I don't know, like some type of entanglement states between these various selves of yours throughout the multiverse, and you remember doing something, it's almost exactly the same and maybe exactly the same up until the point that you turn right instead of left.